Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day. Guys, we're going to some news updates for you this morning, or even could be the afternoon, or could be the evening, depending obviously when you are picking up this video. We're going to talk about rearranged fixtures. We're going to talk about fixture pile-ups. We're going to talk about yet another name on the director of football list, this one with a lot of experience, but also linked with jobs down south as well. And we're also going to talk a little bit about that man, Abdallah Sima, and his fantastic achievement for this last month. So let's start off with another name on the director of football list, and it is this man here. And I bet you're all thinking, who is that? And why is Norwich City in the background? Yes, Norwich City again. Yes, same club that Todd Cantwell came from. And yes, the same club that Kieran Dowell came from. So let me tell you a little bit about this guy here. This is Stuart Webber. Now, Stuart Webber is leaving his job as Norwich City technical director, or sporting director is his exact title, after a period in charge, which obviously during that time he's seen Norwich promoted to the Premier League on a number of occasions. Yes, they've been relegated as well, but for a team like Norwich, it is always tough for them to maintain that position in the Premier League. You know, Norwich do not have the budget that sort of helps them to survive in the EPL. You know, he has, though, done a lot of other work in football, and particularly down south. So what has he done? Well, between 2009 and 2012, he was the director of recruitment for Liverpool. Between 2012 and 2013, he was the head of scouting for Queen's Park Rangers. Between 2013 and 2015, he worked for Wolves as the head of scouting again for Wolves. He was director of football for Huddersfield between 2015 and 2017, and between 2017 and this year, 2023, he has been the sporting director at Norwich. Now, could this be another name that is in the director of football crosshairs? It is certainly a name that has been linked with the club. You know, there is, I think, a strong desire clearly there with the name. Obviously, with Sam Jewell was the first person that has obviously died a death now. Alex Inglethorpe, the name we brought yesterday. Stuart Webber, another name that has now entered the rumour mill, the report mill, the speculation circle, whatever you want to call it, guys. It could be anything, you know. But look, if we get away from names for a minute, you know, let's get away from the Webbers and the Inglethorpes and the Bocanegras and the Nerlingers and the Moores and the Mitchells and so on and so forth, and just actually look at it for a minute. I think for me, we are fast approaching January. We're 8 weeks, less than 8 weeks now, coming up away from the January transfer window opening, and I think it is absolutely vital that Rangers, you know, get a director of football in place, ready for that January transfer window to open. But Philippe Clement has always worked under a model, you know, where there has been a director of football. He's not used to doing that recruitment side of it. That is not his way of working. You know, he's not like Michael Beale. He's not going to go out and meet players. He's not going to go out and scout players. That's not his way. And that's not the way that a lot of foreign coaches work. You know, foreign coaches are all very much used to working under a director of football. Now, for me, it is essential that we get a director of football. I know for some Rangers fans, they don't see the point. They hark back to the days of Walter and Graham, where there was no need to have one. But the days that they worked under, the conditions that they worked under, are very different, I think, to the way that we work today. That the 21st century football game is just non-stop. It's 24/7, 365. It is constant. And there is so much to think about. And if you've got to pick the team, coach the team, manage the team, which is what Philippe Clement is best at. But then you've also got to think about contracts running down, signing players, signing bonuses, contracts for those players, scouting those players. That it is an awful lot for one man to think about. And that's where the director of football comes in. Someone to kind of overarch and take overall control of the likes of Craig Robertson, of the likes of John Park. You know, I was looking earlier at Rangers backroom staff in terms of coaching staff, medical staff, scouting staff, etc., etc. Do you realize how many people we currently have working for us in these areas? It is astronomical. You know, considering, you know, some of our signings have been fairly average to genuinely dreadful. You'd think that given the number of people we've got working for us, it would be slightly better than it actually is. I mean, let me just quickly run through with you what we've got currently in terms of staff. Okay, let's just run through this. Chief, so the First team operations manager is Hannah McLean. The chief scout is John Park. We then have 4 club scouts who are John Brown, Mervyn Day, Piotr Kasparak, and Craig Robertson. We have an emerging talent scout in Toby Koch. We have a technical scout in Chris Summersell. We have a recruitment analyst in James Morgan Snowley. We have a loans manager in Billy Kirkwood. We have an insights manager, whatever the hell that is, in Fraser Murray. We have a head of preparation in Craig Flanagan. We then have a head of strength and conditioning in Paraveskis I can't pronounce the guy's second name, Polikanopoulos. He needs sacking, I think, from looking at the condition of our players. I mean, unless he's just come in under Clement, I don't actually know. First team analysts, we have Graham Stevenson and Sebastian Dunn. We have a GPS specialist. What does he want? What does he do? Keep track of where the players are. Rory McGregor. We have a director of medical and performance in Mark Waller. We have a club doctor in Chris Milne. We have 3, yes, that's right, 3 physiotherapists, Russell Parker, Jonathan Skinner, Jonathan Unwin. We have a rehabilitation performance coach in Eamon Swift. Bloody hell, that is a lot of staff, an awful lot of staff, and I'm not totally sure what they all do. I think there is really a need to rationalise that and sort that out, and hopefully that's something that Philippe Clement can do. And I think that's also a job that the director of football needs to oversee. That is a very complicated backroom staff and complicated coaching and scouting and networking and medical and everything. And director of football, that's kind of his role to oversee all that and organise all that and rationalise it. You know, there's a saying, too many cooks spoil the broth. And I think in the case of Rangers, on several occasions, too many cooks have not only spoiled the broth, they've thrown it away down a drain or absolutely ruined it with too much salt or putting Marmite in it or something. I don't know, but it's absolutely ruined it. So it does need to be looked at. And I think a director of football is essential to actually doing that job, whoever that may be. Stuart Webber is just the latest name to be linked. I'd love to know what you think of this guy. I know some of you weren't keen on Alex Inglethorpe. I am really, really far behind on writing back to comments. I do apologise, but I've got a very busy work schedule and family schedule at this moment in time. Well, let's move on now to a fixture rearrangement. So, as we know, Rangers have qualified for the Viaplay League Cup final on the 17th of December, 3 p.m. kickoff against Aberdeen at the National Stadium, the dump that is Hampden. So because of that, the games against St Johnstone, which was meant to take place this Saturday, and Hibernian, which is meant to take place on the 17th, have had to be rearranged. So when have they been rearranged to? Well, this is the dates that have been given. So Wednesday, December the 20th, so another fixture in December for Rangers, a 7:45 kickoff for that one. So that is the first rearrangement. The second rearrangement is the away game at Easter Road. That is now in January, on January the 24th, again at 7:45 p.m. Now, if we go to December, before the Celtic game on the 30th, we have an exceptionally crowded fixture list. Yes, that's right. Barry Robertson, who was moaning about having to play Eintracht Frankfurt on the Thursday. We were also playing on the Thursday against Real Betis, who I think are slightly tougher opponents, Barry, than what you've got. So I think your complaints are slightly, what's the word? Whingy, whiny, and pathetic. So 3rd of December, we play St Mirren at home. Before on the 6th of December, that's a few days later, as you can see, we play Hearts. Then on the 9th of December, we play Dundee. Before on the 14th of December, on the Thursday night, playing against Betis. Then on the Sunday, we have the Viaplay League Cup final against Aberdeen. We've then got the rearranged St Johnstone game. We've then got 4 days later, we've got the Motherwell away trip. 3 days after that, a home game against Ross County. Before 3 days after that, a game against Celtic, the second Old Firm, and a real must-win game if we are to close that points gap any further. So, you know, if you look at that there are 9 games in December, 9 games in 27 days. That's a game every 3 days. You know, this is really going to test the squad to the full. And, you know, it is showing it is absolutely essential for Philippe Clement to have his players all back and fit and a full squad to choose from. There will, I think, need to be a greater amount of rotation going on during that month of December. It is a fairly intense month, isn't it? You know, with an awful lot of games. And pretty much if you look through those games again, you know, you look through the fact that every league game leading up to the Old Firm game is a must win. The St Mirren at home, Hearts away, Dundee at home, all must win. the St Johnstone game at home, a must win. And Motherwell away, must win. Ross County at home, must win. And obviously the Old Firm game on the 30th is a must win. The game against Betis in Seville could be a game that doesn't matter and then we could change players for, but it could be a game with an awful lot riding on it, depending on what happens in the next two Europa League games against Sparta and then against Aris at Ibrox before we travel to Seville for the return game against Betis. So it's all up in the air, isn't it? It's going to be a very intense December. You know, it could even be a case where Clermont picks and uses the same team for every single game. You know, muscle memory, get a team going. Once they're going like a train. Just keep them on going, keep them going through till that game against Celtic. And then we sort of look back at how we can rest some of those players. You know, hopefully the strength, conditioning and the fitness is improved by then. And we could actually, you know, pick a very similar team. Now, I'm not going to pick a team or suggest a team for the Sparta game until after Philippe Clermont has spoken to media, because, you know, we need to see who is available, who is fully fit. Obviously from this European squad, with obviously key players like Ridvan Yilmaz, etc., missing from the squad. But a big congratulations to Abdallah Sima, who was named the SPL's October Player of the Month. Absolutely fantastic reward for an outstanding October by Abdallah Sima. You know, Abdallah Sima, who, for me, you know, he got an awful lot of criticism, didn't he, at the start of the season? A genuinely dreadful amount of criticism. And he's come good. He really has come good with, you know, coming back, and you look at his statistics, you look at how he's performed, and he's done really well for the club. You know, he's done absolutely superb, you know, since he's really grown into the role and has become one of our top players, and a player, you know, that we cannot afford to be without. You look at his stats from this year: Scottish League Cup 3 games, 1 goal; Scottish Premiership 11 games, 5 goals and assists; 6 goal contributions in 11, pretty decent. Europa League 3 games, 2 goals; UEFA Champions League 3 games, 1 goal. You know, you look at that, and he's got 9 goals this season already, and 1 assist. You know, he's been a really high quality member of this squad, and I know certainly somebody that a lot of fans are looking and saying, do we have the money? Can we sign him? Can he be, you know, a permanent Rangers player? And he had some nice words to say as well, you know, from when he was obviously presented with the award and when he was told that he was the October Player of the Month. And that's phenomenal. And he really is becoming a guy who actually loves playing for the club. And you've seen that in the way that he's conducted himself, in you know, in how he kisses the badge and how he responds to the supporters. He really has become, you know, a fabulous member of this squad. You know, Abdallah Sima is an absolute class act. He really is an absolute class act. You know, he's just been, like I said, superb since he's grown in, and in October he has been very, very good indeed. You know, he said, "I'm extremely proud to receive the award and be named the Scottish Premiership Player of the Month for October. I'm loving my time at Rangers so far, and I feel like I'm continuing to improve on the pitch. That is thanks to my teammates and the staff here who support me to continue to reach my best level." And I think that's absolutely true, and fair play to Abdallah. Obviously the worry will be that we will lose him for the Africa Cup of Nations, which will obviously be a period of time. I think it's December, January time, which obviously is a worry, you know, losing talented players like Sima. You know, won't be great, but hey, it's something you got to live with when you have African players. But well done, Abdallah Sima. Fantastic news. Congratulations on your award. Well, guys, let me know what you think of the stories we've covered this morning. Next video, obviously, we're looking ahead more towards the Sparta Prague game, as it will be match day morning ahead of the game in the evening, and there will be a live stream here on the channel of that game. Well, thanks for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation, and as always, guys, on the way out, 2 things I really do need you to do. Well, actually 3. Smash the sub. Number 2, smash the like. And number 3, please remember always, we are the people.